What's up, y'all? Welcome back. We got workout number 5 of 6. And man, I'm so excited to be almost done with this project. Not because I don't like doing this or filming or making things that are gonna be helpful to people, but the amount of brain power that I have dedicated to this project over these last however many weeks or months it's been. Months. It's been months. That aside, workout number 5 of 6. We got one more workout after this. Today's workout is gonna be shoulder day, focusing on vertical pushing patterns, so shoulder presses. I've dedicated a specific shoulder day to this program because there's a lot of moving parts with shoulders and how they can move. A lot of different muscles that help move our shoulder in different ways, whether it's in flexion, extension, internal, external rotation. So I've dedicated a specific day to this very super mobile joint for today's workout. Same format as always, starting out with Lucky Cats, which is going to help with warming up our rotator cuffs, taking our shoulders through some internal, external rotation. We've got our core work, which is gonna double up as some shoulder stability work as well. It's gonna be Farmer's Walk, which is gonna be an anti-flexion core exercise, along with that heavy weight being able to help stabilize our shoulders, followed by our balance, a rotation exercise, which is gonna take our shoulder through full internal and external rotation, along with building that balance, helping with that joint stability and understanding of how our body is positioned in space. Then we have the good stuff, or the gooder stuff, which is gonna be our strength training, our big main lifts of the day, and then that's gonna wrap it up. The first exercise in this warm-up circuit, we're gonna be doing Lucky Cats. For this exercise, you need 1 dumbbell. Make sure that you're using a lighter dumbbell for this exercise. It's not necessarily an exercise on how heavy you can go. Focus more on the quality of the reps and taking that shoulder joint through full range of motion. This is gonna help warm up our rotator cuffs. To set up, whether on the bench or on the floor, you're set up here, so whatever leg your arm is gonna be on, it's gonna be the same arm and leg. Have them vertical, so you wanna start here in this vertical position. Boom, make sure that your shoulder, you're not hunched in. Try to have a good setup and good posture while you're doing it. So we're gonna go 4 seconds going through internal rotation, bringing the dumbbell down as far as you can, trying to push that dumbbell as close to your leg as you can go. And then rotating back up. One thing that you want to do with this exercise is when you're coming up, push that external rotation. So try to go past vertical when you're at this top position. So that way you can fully get those back shoulder muscles engaging as you're doing the exercise. Make sure that your wrist stays straight. Sometimes people will bend their wrists to try to get extra range of motion. You want everything to stay locked in as you do it. Don't shrug your shoulders either. Another common thing that I'll see with people is when they get to this internal rotation part, they'll shrug in their shoulder like that to try to get some extra range of motion. You want to have everything locked in, so think of your shoulder. Think of your upper arm basically just pivoting, like twisting in and around that shoulder joint. So don't shrug the shoulder, keep everything down. Rotate from upper arm, twisting around that shoulder. Wrist stay straight, and then pushing past 90 degrees to get more activation in those external rotators. Do both sides and then we'll move on to core. The second exercise in this warm-up circuit is gonna be Farmer's Walks. We're gonna be using 2 heavy dumbbells for this exercise. This is an anti-flexion core exercise, so the weights are gonna wanna pull us into this spinal flexion. We've gotta use our posterior chain, so these backside muscles, to really keep that tall posture. Shoulders back and engaged. Nice tall head position as well. The heavy dumbbells are also gonna help with stabilizing the shoulder, so that weight's gonna wanna pull that shoulder down and help stabilize it and lock it in place. Just grab 2 dumbbells and we're just walking, maintaining our posture as tall as we can, keeping all of that engagement through our core. The last exercise in the warm-up circuit is gonna be a balanced exercise. It's an A rotation where we're gonna be using 2 dumbbells. Another exercise that you don't necessarily wanna go super heavy with, just like the Lucky Cats. Focus more on the range of motion and getting those muscles engaging. To set up, before I get into the balance part of it, our arms are gonna be out at our sides, so that way they're forming almost like an arrowhead with our head. So from here, should form like a nice arrow shape, and then we're going through full internal and external rotation, rotating from the shoulders. So it's gonna look like this. Now, setting up the exercise, just like all the balance exercises, we're lining up that second and third toes, midline of the knee, grabbing down with the toes, so you're making that arch with your foot, so keep that foot engaged the whole time. Fire your quads, your glutes, nice tall posture. Set up in that triangle position. From here, think of rotating and turning your hands and shoulders and arms in as far as you can, and then rotating your arms and shoulders back, squeezing those shoulder blades back as you go for the external rotation. And think of when you externally rotate, keeping your abs engaged so those ribs don't flare up. Core stays engaged the whole time. Quads and glutes engaged. And think of twisting, rotating your whole arm as far forward as it can go, and then as far back as it can go, taking the focus of your muscles. So when you internally rotate, you're gonna feel all of these muscles on the front side starting to work, even up into your upper traps. And then when you externally rotate, that focus is gonna go towards your back. So more of those back shoulder muscles, your traps, rhomboids, posterior delts, all of those muscles are going to engage to move your shoulders back. And then do the other leg. So again, same idea, grab down with the toes, quads and glutes. After knocking out your balance exercise on both sides, we're gonna take our 1 to 2 minute rest, go through another round of this. So Lucky Cats, farmer's walks, and this balanced A rotation. And then we're gonna move on to the strength training portion of the workout. Getting into the strength training portion of the workout, we're gonna start with some dumbbell shoulder presses. This is going to work our front delts and work our foundational movement pattern, that vertical pushing pattern. And then we're gonna move on to seated Lou raises, which is going to be training our lateral delts along with taking our shoulder through full frontal plane range of motion. And then we're gonna end the workout with some rear delt flies to help get those rear delts, hence the name rear delt flies, posterior delts, whatever you want to call it. 3 sets of each, and let's go. Dumbbell shoulder press is going to be the first exercise. We're going to use 2 dumbbells. We're going to do a 4-2-1 tempo, which is going to be quick press up, and then we're going to go 4 seconds lowering down with a 2-second pause at the bottom before pressing up for the next rep. We're going to use a bench. It can be an adjustable bench. If you do have an adjustable bench, I would recommend, instead of going full vertical, bring it 1 or 2 notches back, so that way you have a little bit of a slight inclined angle going back. Just puts you in a better position to get more of that front delt working more better, mo better. It works mo better. Or if all you have is just a regular traditional flat back seated bench where you can shoulder press from there, that's fine. However, if you do have the adjustable bench at your disposal, would recommend doing that. All right, grab your dumbbells. Arms are gonna be out to the sides. Here, press up. We're gonna go 4 seconds down. 2-second pause here at the bottom, and then pressing up. And you wanna try to keep your back flat against the bench, so don't have your back arching out like that. Use your abs, keep them engaged. Flatten your back against the bench. Good pause at the bottom, feel a big stretch in the shoulder, and then drive up. Once you've knocked out the first set, take your break, 1 to 2 minutes, 2 more sets of that, and then we move on to the rest of the workout. After knocking out 3 sets on dumbbell shoulder press, we're gonna move on to the seated Lou raise. For this exercise, I like using plates. So if you have a plate, use it. One of the reasons that I like using it, one is it's getting away from just a traditional dumbbell grip. We're gonna be using this sort of pinch grip setup here. It's a different grip position, works your hand a little bit differently, kind of changes how the weight is distributed as you're holding it, but makes it a little more challenging because you're just using different muscles. So let's set up. You can have either a flat bench or a bench with a back support on it, whatever you want, as long as you can just sit leaning against it, preferably with no support or leaning against anything, so that way you're using more of just your core to brace through and keep that position. So if you have a bench with back support on it, just scoot forward a little bit. All right, same thing, we're gonna go with a tempo on this exercise. So holding the dumbbells or holding the plates at your side. As we come up, palms are going to come in facing towards each other, and then nice and controlled on the way down. So palms will face each other at the bottom. As you lift up, lateral raise, then your palms begin to come in. Same thing, use your abs, really keep those ribs down, brace through your core so you aren't hyperextending and arching up. So abs engage, keeping everything locked in place. Nice tall posture, head's back. Don't have your head craned forward like that. No tempo, but a nice and controlled pace on the way up. Nice pause, and then nice and easy on the way down. Knock out your set. Again, same rest period as always. Focus on your breathing. Big breaths in through your nose. Exhale through your nose. Get your breath under control, heart rate under control. All right, 2 more sets here, and then last exercise. Last exercise of the workout, we're gonna be doing rear delt flies. We need a bench or a box or a seat, something that you could sit at the edge of, and then 2 dumbbells. For this exercise, we're going to be hinged forward, and the dumbbells are gonna rest between your legs and the bench. We're coming up. Tempo, 2-second pause at the top, 4 seconds on the way down. So when we're set up here, going out, 2-second pause, 4 seconds on the way down. And your range of motion is pretty important in this exercise, so you can keep the focus on those posterior delts. Notice I'm not going all the way up, like here, and then coming down. If I go too far up, like say here, I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together, so I'm getting my traps and my rhomboids engaged, and it's taking away from my rear delts. So coming up enough to feel it here in those rear delts, so just behind the shoulder. If you go back too far, you'll start to feel it in your middle back. If you do that, that means you're going too far up. So just shorten your range of motion a little bit to get that feeling and focus fully in those posterior delts. Finish your set, knock out your 2 more sets, and then that's gonna be a wrap on today's workout. All right, with the rear delt flies done, that's gonna wrap up today's workout. As you can see from all of the different shoulder movements and muscles that we worked today, that's why I made this its own dedicated vertical pushing pattern day, working specifically our shoulder presses for that vertical push pattern. We got our lateral delts with those seated Lou raises, posterior delts with the rear delt flies, internal and external rotator cuff muscles with our lucky cats as part of the warm-up, and the balanced A's, and then the farmer's walks for some shoulder stability and working those traps. So we hit front delt, traps, posterior delts, lateral delts, everything, and then rotator cuffs to stabilize this super duper mobile joint. And yeah, we've got 1 more workout left. That's gonna wrap up the beginner strength training series. You'll have 6 different workouts that you can do and cycle between for a few weeks, get the feel for each of the foundational movement patterns, and get your basis in training. So that's it for today. Stay tuned on the next one, and yes, enjoy your day.